All right, we're waiting on anybody else that we know of that was planning to be here.
Is anybody expecting anybody else to come? Jane, you expect anybody else to come?
No.
If not, I think we can call a meeting to order. If everyone's had a good weekend and getting ready for a good 4th. I guess the first order of business that we should talk about is the petition, the Hickory City Charter Change petition. Larry, I understand that we have verified the latest sets of names.
We have.
Verified a portion of them.
This is the final stats on the numbers. Here's your copy too, right here.
Thank you.
Here's some extra copies if anybody wants more than one copy.
Scan it later. Thank you.
So this is basically the final answer on all the names that have been submitted to us?
Right.
All right. So we have verified to 2707.
Right, correct.
Which obviously is more than what's required.
Yeah, that's a plus 153. The required was 2,554 names. That's plus 153. That right column breaks it down as we research the names. It breaks it down as the approved names, duplicate, illegible, incorrect county no record, not in the district, signatures missing, signature rejected, voter is deceased, and voters that have been removed.
So not in district means that we're not a City of Hickory voter?
That's correct.
Well,
Of course, as we enter and check these, we're using the state's voter registration system, and it checks to make sure there's no duplicates. That's why it's showing all this. It checks all this as we enter the name.
now considering the deadline for the petition, which was a 1-year time period, wasn't it?
1 year.
Would be this Friday. We have enough signatures today, I think, that it's time for us to take action.
Yep.
You all agree? I think the statute requires that we certify the result of the petition and then deliver it to the city. Is there a standard form for that, do you know? Or?
Yeah, I did a form here for Mr. Witherspoon and Mr. Berry.
Okay.
A copy for each of those parties involved in a copy for our side.
So what you've got here is a
That's a list of
list
all
of
the
all
names.
the names. And then this will be a written certification to Mr. Witherspoon and then to the city.
Correct.
Nick. Dated today.
The original petition will be kept in office. Anybody wants to look at it, it's public record. It's about that much paper. So.
Now, the last 2 pages, one in English and one in Spanish.
Correct.
Was that the original language in their petition? Is that what
It was. That's what was presented at the time the petition was taken out as to the requirements on it. Directions, I guess you could say, instead of requirements.
All right, any discussion about the proposed certification?
No. Fine.
If not, is there a motion that we approve?
Yep.
You make that motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We don't usually have that much ceremony, but since we got people. All right, in that case, the petition is, the certification is approved, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't go ahead, I shouldn't go ahead and sign it and deliver it now.
Sign, give us back one copy, and you look through there, and if you have any questions, just ask me.
Okay.
You can give us a copy of that, please.
Well, while they're looking through that thing, maybe we should go on to some other business and come right back to this issue. So in the interest of time.
These absentee ballots for that coming election.
So we're looking at absentee ballots for the second primary. What other business do we have besides the?
The One Stop is in operation right now. As of last night, we had about 81 people voted so far. So it's operating well, no problems. We have a contract, ES&S, for maintenance on the equipment. Finally got it signed by all parties involved. And the contract is for maintenance of our equipment. It's going to, for the next five-year contract, it's going to cost us $41,782.76 per year for maintenance on the voting equipment for the next five-year contract. The contract went through legal and went through the ES&S. So everybody's just happy with the contract now. Took about a month to get everybody happy with the contract.
That quick, huh?
That quick. The state is required, email the other day, they required us to submit our one-stop plan for the November election. At this time, there's only going to be one site in the budget for Newton. There's nothing in the budget yet for Hickory. There's still a possibility. I understand the budget was passed last night, late. So I still haven't seen the budget where there's money that's going to be available for a grant to open up that Hickory site for November. It's my understanding that one way or the other, the Hickory site will be open. But right today, there's no money in the budget. So we will submit a plan just for the Newton site. And if and when money becomes available for that Hickory site, then we'll update the plan.
Okay.
I sort of got the feeling that Hickory site will be open. It's just the steps you're going to have to go through to get to that point. So.
Right.
As you can see on that piece of paper here, there is a voter that was deceased. Signature got put on that petition.
Right.
And it's my understanding that the woman signed her son's name. She is, I guess how to put it, she will not let go. And she intentionally signed his name on the form. Whether or not the board thinks should pursue that, it's up to the board, but my understanding is that she's trying to find the right word.
Bereaved.
That's a good word. personally, from my understanding is I don't see a reason to pursue it. It was caught, and my understanding, she understands what she did, but her mental state is what drove her to do this. But the system caught the name as we were going through the names.
Well, we have pursued people who either voted or attempted to vote when they shouldn't have. If they have the right mental state that we thought that they should be responsible for their actions. I don't know that we need to spend our time trying to pursue this. We got enough to do.
With that, while we're still in the November election, and it's been asked about, I know we're still working on getting the Hickory site open, but they're also asking for a Sunday voting day.
Sunday voting day.
And we'll bring it to the board so that be considered.
We have considered that before. There are some counties that do a Sunday voting day and some counties that don't. Sunday voting day usually is larger, like the Mecklenburgs of the world. The ones usually doing Sunday voting day. We've resisted it before on the grounds that, frankly, we need a day off. The people that are working the site need a day off. And Sunday seems like a reasonable day to do that. For many people in the county, Sunday is still something that is sort of a day that's off limits for other things besides religion. Not that we have to follow that, but that's, I think, if you're looking for a day that you're not open because you need a day off, you need the thing not to be running 7 days a week, Sunday's the best day to do that as opposed to a Saturday or any other day. That much having been said, I mean, I'm one person, I'm not three people, so what do you all think?
Do you have a calendar of the election?
One start. I'll go.
One
It starts on the
starts here.
18th. Yes, October 18th.
Is it set in stone that we have to do certain days? Because can we not, even if, with that being the case, can we not swap a day? One of the open days, like one of the slower days is normally during the week for a Sunday voting?
The Newton site is considered our office site. It's required by law to be open the same hours, at least the same hours as our office, so it has to be open
And it
Monday
has
through
to start
Friday.
on this day, right?
It has to start on the 18th, the Hickory, the Newton site, which is considered our office site.
But we could close it on any of these Saturdays.
Any additional hours or days is in addition to those. Now, the Hickory site is totally an additional site. It can be opened any hours, any days. But the Newton site is required to open on the 18th and close on that Saturday before, at least office hours 8 to 5. But it can be added to. It can be taken away.
I mean, the issue with having some days on and some days off during the week is that I think you want it to be predictable for people, so that, because we may be very cognizant, paying close attention. Most people don't. They just assume it started on that Thursday and it's going to be open for a couple of weeks. They're going to show up on a Thursday if we close that day and be very disappointed.
Well, Larry said it's got to be open if the office is
If
open.
the office is open.
So it's going to be
It's
open on
got
Thursday.
Well,
Monday through Thursday.
in theory, you
Monday
could
through
do the Hickory site different.
Oh,
That's what
yeah,
he was
yeah.
saying. That's,
Yeah.
so,
And in the past, the Hickory site, we typically do not open it on Thursday. We open it on that following Monday. So, in the past.
part of that is just because of staff issues.
Yes.
I mean, we got to have people in the office that are involved in opening the site. We just can't do two at the same time. I'm not in favor, as some people are, of shortening the early voting time, but I also think that adding more days is just too much. I mean, we've got plenty of days.
I think so too, yeah.
To come do it.
Well, I have concern that if there's an issue with a Sunday voting, that doesn't shorten it or lengthen it, it just changes a day.
You mean as opposed to doing it on Saturday?
Right. I mean, if it's the Hickory site, it really doesn't have to be one of the days during the week. I mean, you can do, why can't we do a Saturday and Sunday, may have it on Monday off? I don't think we should make an issue of, oh, this is the way we normally do it, or, you know, we don't want to tell people that, you know, based on our perception that Sunday is just not a good day. I think if the public has asked for us to visit it, then we need to take the time to visit it and decide whether than just this is the way we traditionally do it. We're understaffed. Okay, if we're understaffed, then once again, let's change the day. Not cut back, but, you know, change one of the days, especially if that second site is going to be open. That's not, that's, you know, to me, at least look at it and see if that's feasible for us to do, especially if the site is going to be open. I don't think one day is going to make a difference in, well, whether we have 500 voters or 100 voters. You know, we have those days when it's very slow, but we still have the facility staffed. I don't see where Sunday is going to make a difference, you know, a one-day voting opposed to the rest of the days that they're out there. But
Well, it's one thing to say we want people to work the early voting site. I mean, I'm talking about people that we pay to be there. Asking them to work on a Sunday is kind of extraordinary. I understand that it's done in some places, but not that much. I mean, I just think it's a day that we should be able to take off. And the issue of taking off during the weekdays is people expect the thing to be open during the week. It's a work festival, so they expect it to be open. Lots of things are closed on Sundays for all sorts of traditional reasons.
but some people work on Sunday.
They certainly do.
So
I agree.
my argument is that if, you know, we can see fit to have one day Sunday voting, if that's, you know, what the public is asking, is the real issue that it's Sunday, it's the Sabbath day, or is the real issue that we just want to keep it open during the regular voting days that has been in the past? I don't think staffing would be an issue if they know in advance that Sunday is going to be a Sunday voting day. You pre-plan for things like that, and you give people the option. You know, we pay staff to work on that day, and you actually give them the option as to where there are going to be people that won't be able to work Monday through Friday. You know, so I think that again.
To what extent do we have people that have to be at every day of early voting on that office, or judges / clerks?
Well, it'll be staffed with, I think it's, the Hickory site's going to have 11. I mean, the Newton site, I think they got scheduled 11 people to be there every day. Of course, at the time, people have doctor's appointments that are gone for an hour or two, of that nature, if it so happens to fall in something like that. That happens every once in a while, dental appointments, things like that. Typically on that Hickory site, of course, right now, there's no funds today
Right.
for Hickory site.
Yeah, we're just talking theoretically anyway.
Like I said, in the past, we do not open on that Thursday and Friday anyway. And at times we'll close, instead of being open that last Saturday, we'll close it on the Friday. Especially when we had 4 sites, last presidential election.
Right.
Last presidential election, the state required to be open all day on that last Saturday and still closed at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
So if that happens again this time, I don't know. It could. It's happened before. So the Hickory site is, you know, like I say, those hours can be set, hours and days can be set by the board. It's not required. The Newton site is required. It's an office site, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. That's the minimum. And additional hours could be attached to that also.
Do we have people that are at a particular early voting site, and those same people are at there every single day that early voting is open?
Yes, people are scheduled to be there every day.
That's what I thought.
So there's no rotation, you don't have extra people?
No.
Okay.
And that's so, it's sort of like having the judges in precincts on precinct during the that election day.
Correct.
It's people that, the same people, so that the decisions come up, the decisions are going to be done uniformly
Right.
by the same people.
And then the budget for, the Newton side is budget for Monday through Saturday during that time period.
Well,
Okay,
personally,
so-
I would like to see, I'd like to see us try it for one election, see what kind of response we get.
See if the numbers justify the
Yeah.
mean?
Well, vice president's election, 40, because we had 4 sites open. So we had 43,000 people voted early. Over half the people voted early voting the last president's.
You wasn't gonna come anyway? Okay, well, good.
That was with 4 sites, and of course, I'm sure the sites are going to be pretty heavy with only 2 sites, if we get the Hickory site, which I'm pretty sure we will. Mick might kick in the mind to open up.
Yeah.
Find it in one pocket of the other. When are we getting ready to submit a one-stop plan? When does it due?
It's due first week in August. Of course, at that time, like I say, if we don't know about the grant money or any other money that, you know, the county may kick in to open up a Hickory site, then the plan will go in as one site. And then later on, if grant money becomes available, or we get money from the county to open a Hickory site, then we'll do it.
Well, let me make a suggestion. It doesn't sound like it's going to make any sense to try to do Sunday voting in Newton, because then we'll be open 7 days a week, which
Right.
I just think is too much to ask people to do. I'm talking about our people to do.
Yeah.
But if you want to try a Sunday voting, it sounds like maybe Hickory might be the place to do that, but we can't do that yet because we can't do anything about a Hickory site. It's not budgeted yet. So why don't we just put this issue off, and then when we do, we all expect we're going to get a Hickory site this election. When we get that official, and it's time to amend our early voting plan, then we can decide for sure whether we want to add a Sunday or two to the Hickory hours. What do you think about that?
That works. I just want to make sure that it is revisited in August, as opposed to just saying no to it. And also, my thought is if we're normally with the Hickory office, we don't open on that Thursday and Friday.
Right.
I see that, you know, Sunday is a viable option. Maybe even that first Sunday.
I don't think
again,
you
I
want
like
to. I don't think you want to open it on a Sunday, because then you're going to require all of our people to work on that Sunday. I mean, I'm talking about our people in there, and I think they work enough.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can still open it on Monday and then do it the following
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's- I'm in agreement with that.
All right. Well, then we can revisit that issue when we get a Hickory site funded.
And there are other counties in the state that do operate on Sunday, mostly the larger counties.
Yeah.
At least one Sunday. I think Mecklenburg they're open one Sunday. Durham County.
When Mecklenburg does it, do they do it after, quote, after church? Like 1 o'clock or something?
I think it's 1 to 5 or something like that. But the hours we could set, you know, the board could set the hours.
I know, I'm just curious what the precedent is, because if we're going to do it, then I would think we would not be open on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
But,
I can check with the counties that are open
okay.
and see what kind of hours they're going to.
Well, we got some
use that
time to,
comparison.
yeah, let's do a little survey about that. All right, we got any other business, or we can come back to the petition?
I think we're ready to come back to the petition.
I mean, there's some things that needs to happen now that sort of the petition drive and the certification is now sort of over, which includes the setting of the election date, which is something the city does within some
Let me interrupt
constraints.
you. Just before we come in, there was another sheet brought in with 2 names on it. I don't see any reason to include those names in this petition, since the petition as it is right now is sufficient.
I think that's up to the people submitting the names. If they want us to certify additional names.
I'll withdraw them.
Okay. All right. So we do need to know, and obviously as soon as possible, when the special election's going to be. I mean, we all know what the timing is here. It can't be on election day, quote, because that would be more than 120 days from today. It can't be less than 60 days. 60 days from today. You've got
Calendar.
Okay, and it also can't be within 30 days of the other election date. So
I thought it was 30 days from today. It couldn't be within 30 days of today. Or 30
I
days
get
of
to go
the
about
election.
it.
Is that right?
30 days from the November cannot be 30 before or 30 after.
but it cannot be within, it can't be, needs to be 61 days from that.
It has to be between, from the day, it has to be between 60 and 120
So we're
days.
talking really the last day of August, isn't it?
August,
Yeah.
August 31st
Through-
is the 60th day.
The beginning of October.
Yeah. The 120 days is October the 30th.
And then the 30 days back from election day would put it around the first week or so.
October the 8th. It cannot be after October the 8th.
So we're really talking about a 5 or 6 week window there. The other thing that has to be decided is the actual language that's going to go on the ballot for the voters to determine. Speaking as just one person in this room, I think it would be great if that language was agreed to by all the interested parties, but I'm not telling you that that's a legal requirement, but I think that would be great. I don't know the best way to do that, except that if the city, which I think takes the lead on this, if they want us to be involved in that wording because we word ballots all the time, we certainly can be. But I would encourage really all the interested parties, if they can, to agree on the language instead of having a fight about it. Let's have a fight about the merits instead of the language. But that's just an opinion. That's not anything official for my point. We do need, though, the language quickly as possible, obviously for all sorts of reasons. And we also have a requirement to that we do a public notice of the new election, for the special election, which means that we need to know as soon as we can.
What is kind of y'all's time frame in terms of the
I think there is a
everything
time
that you've
frame.
got to do to?
'Cause it requires the city to give the public notice. Requires the city to set the date of election.
I thought we gave the public notice.
It requires the city to do that.
Okay.
Give it time.
Time is 45 days before the election date.
Is when it has to be, when the time has to be officially published?
Days prior to the special election.
Nick, at General Statute 163-287.
And that's the one that says the Board of Elections shall be responsible for publishing the legal notice.
The other statute, Nick, is 160A-104.
Of course, John and I talked about this last week.
Yeah.
Looked at both of those statutes. It does. And shall give public notice thereof, this is this council, shall give public notice thereof in accordance with 163-287, which says that the Board of Elections gets the notice.
So he tells you to do it.
That's pretty awesome.
So one of us will give the public notice. Either one, it doesn't make any difference. We do them for every election anyway, so.
Well, I mean, seriously, just us doing it might make sense just because we always do it anyway. And one reading of the statute requires us to do it, and one reading requires the council to do it, so we ought to just do it jointly. As long as it gets done, that's the important thing.
Right.
Notice shall state the date and time of the special election, the issue to be submitted to the voters, and the precincts in which the election will be held. Now, that's another issue, because there are some precincts, as everyone knows, that have a small number of Hickory voters. And sometimes, in fact, often, we do not open that precinct just for a City of Hickory election, just because it costs too much money. So we have combined precincts in the past. Now, that's a decision the board makes, our board makes. So we need to make that decision well in advance of the time of publishing the legal notice, so that they can be part of the notice.
There are 20 precincts involved in City of Hickory. Precinct 7 has 10 people, 17 has 63 people, Precinct 34 has 24 people. So if any precincts are combined by the board, that most likely will be the 3 that's combined. And each of those voters, we send a letter telling them to go to the nearest place. We'll figure out which is the nearest place to vote if they want to vote election day, or of course you can still vote early, or you can still vote by mail.
How many Hickory voters live in 23?
355.
I was trying to, haven't we sometimes taken 23 and 24 and
We
combined
have.
them with some other, with like Brookford or
Now
some of those other places?
they get so large now, that's a lot of people
little different,
move,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, there's a lot of people that move out there. Well, we don't have to decide that today. We probably shouldn't decide that today. We need to give that some thought. Which precincts and where we combine them and how we've done it before, and see if that's a good idea to do it that way this time. But I don't think it makes a hill of beans difference whether you open the one that has 10 people in it. I mean, you might as well move that one. That's just a lot of wasted money.
Another thing that the board can consider, of course not do it now either, is the voting equipment.
Yes.
By not using electronic equipment, that will save some programming cost. And just like election going on now, we're not using electronic equipment. That's saving some costs as far as programming. Somewhere $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 programming.
Okay.
And this is a city election, which means the city's going to end up paying for it. So saving money is obviously good for everybody. I don't see any reason. I mean, this is a suggestion, but why would we not do the paper ballots for this election?
Definitely.
I don't see any reason to do electronic on this thing for early voting and election day. It's just
One ballot style.
That's it. One issue, one ballot style, and it would be cheaper.
Yep.
So,
Early voting is required every election, so there will have to be early voting starting the third Thursday. And I think the board would vote to have it at Hickory. Of course, the state has to approve that, but they haven't passed for a Hickory primary. It doesn't make much sense to have early voting in Newton when it's a Hickory election, so I don't see that.
So it starts the third Thursday before Election Day? Is that how that works?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you tell me if all of the dates that we discussed before when we're talking about them in relation to Election Day, is that in relation to early voting or are they all in relation to Election Day?
Election day.
So the 45-day notice could lose 2.5 weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
That's true.
From
45
the
days
beginning
prior
of
to.
voting.
Yeah, 45 days prior to the special election.
Okay,
That's right.
thank you.
As far as early voting goes, Mick, it's mandatory to be open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. That last Saturday, it's mandatory, it has to be open until 1 o'clock. Any extra time, if the city wants to pay for any extra time, all you do is let us know, before that time gets here.
Oh, okay.
If you want to throw in a Saturday
Okay.
or a Sunday, whatever. As long as I think everybody can agree on time with it.
Now,
That's the main point, everybody trying to agree.
When we get a date set, which again, that's, I think, the immediate issue is setting that
Yes.
date so that everyone else can plan accordingly. We would have to still submit an early voting plan
Yes.
to the state board for approval,
Yes.
which we need to do quickly too.
I asked the state this morning if it's mandatory the election be held on Tuesday. They say no, it is not.
Okay.
It can be held on any day of the week.
Okay.
That's good to know. I just assumed that it would be in here somewhere, but they do it on Tuesday. Now, as much as tradition is not always something that you have to go by, people expect the election day to be Tuesday. And you will confuse the bejesus out of some people if you don't do it on a Tuesday, but maybe you want to. But that, I think, would be an interesting deviation.
I would make the suggestion, since we're going into this November election, that try to schedule it at least the first 2 weeks in September, one of those days, if at all possible.
Why just keep it as far away from the general election as?
Because it starts, on September the 7th, we start actually mailing out ballots for the November election. And last presidential election, we had some 4,000 ballots we mailed out. So these two elections are going to start running together. So as soon as we can have this election, the easiest it's going to be for us keeping them separated. That's not to say we cannot do both elections at the same time. We can, we will. But it's, as soon as possible, set this date. Of course, September 30 is a holiday, so that's on Monday, so we've got to take that into consideration too. And September 11th is the second Tuesday. Some people may want to take that into consideration too. So,
Would early voting be necessarily closed because of the holiday?
it will. If early voting is open for September 30, it will not operate that day. That's correct. It will not operate tomorrow because tomorrow is a holiday.
Just a thought. Since it's September 11th, it's an important date in our history, and that's a Tuesday. I don't know how that would play if at all into anybody's decision making. At some point, you've got to continue to do business on a September 11th. So, yeah, it would be better for us just because this presidential elections are tough anyway for us, just as a matter of practicality. And adding this election in, which is, we're not complaining about that, but if we can get it as far away from the November election, it would be great for the operation of the office. We are going to meet again next Tuesday.
Yes.
So, again, this is not any kind of order from on high or anything, but it'd be great if we had some of these things figured out by then. At least some thinking about some of these issues figured out by then. I know the council has to take official action. They can just do it on whatever day we say, but the quicker the better for us. We're going to have a meeting next Tuesday, and then we're going to have a meeting the following Monday.
Yes.
Is that right? 5. And then, of course, the next Tuesday, which is an election day for us, we will also be in session at night. So we can take, my point is we'll be available to take action as a board to the extent we need to those next 3 meeting days.
Yeah.
So just to let everybody know.
What election is that y'all have right now?
We have the second primary, the people that it's essentially a runoff election.
Oh, okay.
Somebody asked me the other week how many people are interested in this election. I said there's 8 of them. And all of them are on the ballot. There's 2 Democrats and 6 Republicans.
Yeah, I bet.
But so obviously we've had some voters. I'm kidding. There's some voters, but it's going to be a very low turnout election. It's council of state races.
Yeah, right, yeah, that's right, I'd forgotten about.
You and everyone else. All right, any other business? Any other? If not,
Unless you got any questions about that. Mr. Witherspoon, you got any questions on that?
Can I just say that the board has done a tremendous job of keeping us informed, everybody, I think, informed and letting us know where we are and verifying, and I know it's been extra work on the staff, and I just want to officially say thank you for the work they've done.
they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're good guys, most of the time.
Pretty good.
Of course, Larry went on vacation while this was happening.
He did go on vacation.
All right. Are we adjourned?
Yes, we are.
I think we are too.
That'd be fine.
Here.